Hello, everyone. My name is Seth. And today, I'm going to give you my review of Season 3 of Only Murders in the Building. I think Only Murders in the Building kind of fits. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think it kind of fits here in this theme of the Halloween-ish kind of season. So I really love the first two seasons. They were really a surprise for me. I remember seeing the trailers and they didn't really grab me. I just thought, that's kind of interesting. And so eventually me and my wife needed something to watch. We decided to watch Only Murders in the Building and we were hooked. And so I was so excited. I was counting down the days until season 3. I want to go through this review and not really give any spoilers because I want you guys to experience season 3 as the creators intended it, just going into it kind of blind, just seeing what they show in the trailers, because there's a lot to this. With this being a mystery show, kind of a whodunit murder mystery kind of thing, you don't want spoilers. So I'm going to go through this as spoiler-free as possible. So this season actually does something a little bit different. The majority of it takes place outside of the Arconia, which, as you might would remember if you saw the first 2 seasons, the majority of those seasons took place inside the Arconia, the apartment building where Charles, Oliver, and Mabel live. That's where the murders took place. And in this one, they focus more on the setting of like the theater of where Oliver's play is. And it's interesting because the Arconia played such a huge role in the first 2 seasons. It almost was like its own character. So right off the bat, we are kind of in for something a little bit different here. And with this taking place in the theater, kind of around Oliver's play, Oliver's cast for his play ends up taking on a larger portion of the side characters instead of some of the residents at the Arconia, which again is interesting. It gives us a new set of characters to kind of play with. But right from the first episode, they do a great job of keeping you guessing. And I think the writing is very, very good here, at least for the most part, I would say. The dialogue here is great. And I like the story that they tell this season, and I like how they go about telling it. The mystery is done extremely well here. It keeps you engaged. You're trying to figure this out for yourself. And with the mystery being the basis of the story, you want it to be fun and exciting and engaging, and it definitely is. Like I mentioned, we have kind of a new cast of side characters than what we've been used to. There's a few that do show up that were residents from the Arconia, but like I said, most of it focuses around Oliver's cast for his play, and I think they do a good job of introducing you to these new characters and you kind of getting to know them, and they do a great job of balancing the new characters and new information. And they definitely throw a lot of red herrings in there, which you would absolutely expect. In terms of some of the negatives I have with the writing this season, there were a couple of plot points throughout the season I didn't personally enjoy. Now, that might just be me. I don't know how you would feel about it. You might would love it. There was a couple plot points for me that I didn't necessarily care about, and I was just kind of waiting to move past. And there was a couple of wrinkles that they added to characters, a couple of things that happened to characters that I kind of feel like maybe was a little bit unnecessary, because I feel like they brought it up, they forgot about it for the majority of the season, and they brought it back up when it was, I guess, narratively necessary or important. And I think they could have done a better job with that. There's also a couple of love stories here throughout this season, and those didn't necessarily connect with me. Not because of any of the actors' fault. I think the actors were doing a good job with what they were given. I just didn't really get sucked into any of these relationships. I wouldn't say I hate them, but we'll see. Maybe it'll mean more if they end up setting up something later on.
I also wanted to pop in here real quick and just say that some of the songs that they had for Oliver's play were actually pretty good and pretty catchy, and I was quite surprised by that, but it was a welcome surprise. So, on with the rest of the review.
Another thing that they ended up doing different in this season than the other two is that our three main characters end up separated for a portion of this season. It's pretty interesting, but I think the show works the best when Charles, Oliver, and Mabel are all together. That's just when the show is just at its best. And just like in the other two seasons, those three being together is like some of the highlights for this season for me. Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez are all great in this. They were great in the other two seasons, and they carry that through here in season 3. They are fantastic. They have such a great grasp on these characters that they're playing, and they absolutely have incredible chemistry. Those three just work so well together. They have their own style of humor. It comes through in their characters, and it's just really entertaining TV. Two main things about Only Murders in the Building that makes the show as special as it is the murder mystery. Yeah, that's fun. They make it fun and interesting, but the biggest thing is the chemistry between these three, and it's just great. And the rest of the cast do a good job too. You get some of the over-the-top background and side characters, some returning, some new, like I mentioned before, but they all do a good job, and they definitely deliver quite a few laughs. A couple of the side characters in this that I really enjoyed getting to learn more about and getting to see them in this show were played by Meryl Streep and Paul Rudd. Meryl Streep played an actress named Loretta who really never got much success being an actress. She has been working as an actress for a huge chunk of her life, and she just hasn't really had a big break. She hasn't been super successful. And it was really interesting to see Meryl Streep play this role. She was really good. I mean, I'm not the biggest Meryl Streep fan, but she was just really good in every single episode she was in. And I love Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's one of my favorite actors, and I loved seeing him in this. It was awesome that he popped up at the end of season 2, so I was excited to see how they would incorporate this character here in season 3. And he plays an actor named Ben Glenroy, who is a super successful actor who's in all these big Hollywood franchise films, and he's just a jerk. He's just a terrible person. And it's really fun to get to see Paul Rudd play this role, and he does a great job. You could tell he was having a ton of fun, and it's always a good time whenever Paul Rudd's on screen in this season. Overall, I had a really good time with this season. This show is so bingeable. You just start one episode and you have to know what happens next. Even though this season, there was a few things I didn't necessarily love, it didn't really take away from the enjoyment. It was just a couple of lower points in an overall great season of TV. There were a couple of moments in this where I thought, I don't know if this is as good as the first 2 seasons. I think this might be a step down. I don't know. But then almost immediately they would do something like, no, it's on par with the other 2 seasons. It's not like a big step down like I was thinking. So like I said, those smaller moments that I maybe wasn't the biggest fan of, they immediately turn it around, and it doesn't take away overall from the enjoyment for me. So I think it is on the same level as the other 2 seasons. Although if I were to rank them, this would be my least favorite of the 3, but I still really, really enjoyed it. And I think it's fun TV. If you have not seen season 3, I would absolutely recommend going ahead and watching it. All episodes are on Hulu right now. If you have not seen this show at all, I would absolutely recommend binging all 3 seasons. Once you start, you probably won't stop till you're through the 3rd season. They've already announced season 4, and I'm super excited. They ended season 3 on a place that makes me really excited to see what they do next with these characters. So that's it. That's my review of Only Murders in the Building season 3. Have you seen this season? Have you seen the show? Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. We are getting closer and closer to 100 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It would absolutely make my day. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. You can follow me on social media to stay connected anywhere at CinemaSeth, and I'll see you next time.